What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live for another week of the NFL review, The Bottom Line. Week 14 of the NFL season is through, it's done with, and I am here to rant, to rave, and to express my thoughts on this past week in the NFL. In this video, I'm going to go over all the biggest storylines and topics, and rant and answer your questions at the end, Q&A fashion. There was a lot to discuss the NFL in Week 14. I believe we learned a lot of movement in the top of the league. We had some big matchups on Thursday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, all the primetime matchups. The Rams rampaging over the New England Patriots. The Sunday Night Football game that really was the Buffalo Bills showcasing how good they are. And then Monday Night Football, the Ravens in an epic, in the poop game. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens defeat the Cleveland Browns. So there were some great primetime matchups in Week 14, but also some matchups and some stories that went under the radar. We're going to discuss all that in this video. Before I discuss that, before we get into the main topics of the show, make sure you do spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more NFL bottom line weekly reviews. And let me know your questions or comments in the comment section here live. Or if you're not watching this live, let me know your thoughts and your opinion in the comment section. Always love hearing from you guys. Of course, this is supposed to be on YouTube, a place where you can interact with people and not just scream at them and not tell them that their takes are bad. We're going to get to that at the end of the show. Trust me, we're going to get to your takes. It's time to get to the people's takes, not just my takes. That's the main event for this show. Your takes. I'm going to rip them apart. But let's start where we always begin. And that's with the Ultra Top 10. Ultra every week gives us his top 10 NFL teams on Instagram. That's where you can find it before any other thing or any other place. You can find the Ultra Top 10 on Instagram at TheBottomLineView, where he gives us his top 10 teams. This week, his top 10 teams are... starting off with the Kansas City Chiefs at number 1, no surprise. They once again won a game where it looked like they might have been in trouble. But the Chiefs, they came out on top over the Miami Dolphins in a bad Mahomes game, which we're going to discuss, and what went wrong for Mahomes, and potentially what the Dolphins did that could show other teams how to beat them. You have the Buffalo Bills at number 2, who had, like I just said, a showcase game over top the Steelers. On Sunday Night Football, in a bad weather outing, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs led the team to victory. The Bills look to be hitting their stride at the right time of the year. Number 3, the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, Aaron Rodgers, could be the MVP of football, a lot of people are saying. The Packers get another easy win over the Detroit Lions, although the game was closer than I think many people expected and actually came down to an onside kick. The Packers, again, take another victory. At number 4, the Saints. The Saints moved down a couple spots due to their loss versus the heavy underdog Philadelphia Eagles and the rookie quarterback Jalen Hurts. I don't care who the quarterback is, whether it's Taysom, Drew Brees, Brooks, I don't care. Any Saints quarterback, Archie Manning. If the Saints want to be a top team, they can't lose to Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. I don't care. We're going to talk about specifically Jalen Hurts' debut on this show. Maybe dive into a little bit of the Saints' struggles. At number 5, the LA Rams. The LA Rams had an extremely impressive victory, pretty much dominating the line of scrimmage versus the Patriots offense and keeping the Patriots to a minimum on the scoreboard, winning that Thursday night game that a lot of people, including myself, thought was a difficult matchup for them. At number 6, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers lose again 2 weeks in a row, which makes them seem very human after losing to Washington and now the Buffalo Bills. Bills proving that they really are the better AFC team. That's why they've moved down to number 6. There were already flaws with them, but now that they've lost a couple of games, we can truly say that they are not in that area, that top category in the NFL. At number 7, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For some, this might be a little bit too high. I could see Buccaneer fans saying this is too low. The thing with the Bucs is very weird is week to week, we overreact to every performance they have. Some weeks when they lose, we overreact to their loss. Sometimes when they win, we overreact to their win. A lot of the times, though, the thing with the Bucs is I will say they do not make things close when they win. Every time the Bucs win versus basically any opponent, it seems like they win pretty easily. Now, versus the Vikings, the scoreboard was a bit of a misnomer, I would say. Misled really how the game went. It was a closer game than the scoreboard, but the Bucs won by double digits versus the Vikings, who beat the Packers a couple weeks ago. So that's still pretty impressive. At number 8, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are a confusing team, just like Tampa Bay. They have an extremely explosive offense that when it's on, it's very difficult to defend and stop. And then their defense pretty much can be scored on by anybody. But versus Jacksonville, they did show up. They dominated a matchup that they should dominate. So give them credit for that. At number 9, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens with a huge Monday Night Football win over the Cleveland Browns, keeping their playoff hopes alive to get a wild card, and actually, in my opinion, putting them in the driver's seat to get a wild card spot. Because, yes, they are behind Miami at this moment, I believe, but they have a much easier schedule than Miami, and they look to be playing good football at the right time, especially on offense, which is where we've been questioning them for most of the season. And at number 10, the Cleveland Brownies. The Browns, although they did lose, we're going to talk about this, the Browns proved to everybody, a national audience, that they are here to stay, that they are legit, especially their quarterback. So let's talk about that topic first. That's the top 10 from Ultra. If you enjoy what you see, if you like Ultra's takes, let us know in the comments. Also, head over to Instagram and follow TheBottomLineView on Instagram for that top 10 and more throughout the week. Stuff that you won't get here on YouTube. All right. Before we do get started, make sure you do give this video a Gronk spike, and let's get underway with the topics. All right, so let's start off with the Monday Night Football game, the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. This was an epic. I would say, for me, for my money, this was the best game of week number 14 and of probably the 2020 NFL season. I would go that far to say I do not recall a game that was more exciting, that was more back and forth, that featured defensive football, offensive football, that featured great quarterback play, good coaching, drama. It had literally every piece that makes, to me, what is an epic football game. We had pick sixes. We had a quarterback going to the locker room, coming back and saving the day in Lamar Jackson. We had Baker Mayfield playing, in my opinion, above his level, playing better than expected, and pretty much going back and forth with Lamar, the MVP of the league, and just fantastic, I think, all around. It featured everything you want to see on Monday Night Football, and by far the best Monday Night Football game we have had all season long. There's a lot to take away from this game. I don't want to say that it should be too important to what we really provide as our analysis heading into the playoffs, because remember, this is a divisional game. So divisional games always give us different takes. They always kind of throw us off our path of what our full analysis and scope is of an NFL team. But the Cleveland Browns showed us a couple of things here. The Cleveland Browns showed us that this offense is legit and it can adjust to the opponent. So the Cleveland Browns, with Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield, have had trouble with two teams this year. That was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens in week 1. They have struggled with teams with blitz-heavy concepts on defense that like to send pressure, send heat at their quarterback, and make Baker make quick decisions. We've seen the Browns offense pretty much thrive versus every other defense this year, except for the defenses in their own division, the Ravens and the Steelers. I think this game, with Baltimore mostly healthy on the defensive side of the football, Cleveland showed us that this offense is top tier. That, yes, it can run the football. We knew this. But Baker has grown as a quarterback. He's grown as a decision maker. And he has grown into the moment of primetime football. And I don't usually love to utilize primetime football, but for the Browns, you have to understand that that is a thing. The Cleveland Browns rarely play on primetime, if ever. I don't remember 5 times in my life that I've seen the Cleveland Browns play on Monday Night Football, okay? The Cleveland Browns yesterday were running the ball, and more specifically, Kevin Stefanski, who does deserve Coach of the Year honors, in my opinion, or at least to be in that conversation, showed us that his offensive philosophy can evolve given the opponent. I love the way they utilized empty sets, which is not something that Cleveland typically utilizes a ton of. They really went after the mismatches of the Ravens linebackers in the passing game, utilizing Kareem Hunt out of the backfield or as a wide receiver on double moves. They used tight end David Njoku. They used Hunter Bryant. They used tight ends and backs to attack the linebackers. They also attacked down the field with Donovan Peoples-Jones. They used a lot of boots, a lot of play action. I thought that was very effective, especially on first down and early down play calls where they were able to get Baker comfortable. I specifically really liked their first drive where they threw a couple screen passes, got Baker in the game, got his confidence up, allowed him to seize the moment kind of thing. But Cleveland really, mostly on offense, proved to me that they're going to be tough to handle, no matter if they have OBJ or no OBJ. And a lot of people that have said that this offense is better without Beckham, I think I have to agree at this point. I love Odell Beckham. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. But you have to see with your eyes that Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback for whatever reason that is. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, he is a better quarterback when Odell is not on the field. And I don't know if it has to do with confidence, if it has to do that Baker is outside of his own head, if he's inside of his own head when Odell's on the field, if it just allows him to simply go through his reads more effectively. Maybe the offense runs smoother without him. Maybe they get more to their core philosophy without Odell there. I don't know what it is exactly, but the Browns have, since Odell has gone out, maybe they're featuring more two back sets. Maybe they're featuring more 2 tight end sets. I don't know the analytics there. I don't know the statistics there, but something with that has Baker playing better football and therefore the offense being more consistent. It's not that the Browns have lacked the high octane ability. They've had the high octane ability the whole time, the last 2 seasons, but they've lacked consistency. We've seen times where the Browns were awesome one week and they just came out flat and got wrecked the next week. But this week we saw on Monday night, they came out with a good game plan. Baker was throwing on the move very effectively. He was accurate all game. He was sensing pressure, avoiding pressure, even scrambling at times. And they were able to mix in that run game that they're so good at. So I just love what I saw from Cleveland's offense. Now, defensively, we see really nothing from either team. I mean, the Ravens, the Browns, neither team showed us that their defense come playoff time or in any big game is going to be able to slow down an opponent. Maybe it's a bad matchup for both defenses. I'm not sure. Cleveland's defense, for whatever reason, just appeared like they were uninterested in rather tackling Lamar Jackson or properly actually defending Lamar Jackson, which I think is the reason they lost. They didn't treat him as the weapon he is. They didn't treat their defensive line in a less aggressive fashion to keep Lamar inside the pocket. What do we know about the Ravens? Their weakness is to pass the football. Well, yes, the Ravens were effective on the ground with both their running backs and Lamar, but every time it seemed like Lamar needed to scramble, he was able to scramble. And I get it. It's tougher than really it is to just say, oh, contain him. Oh, spy him. It's not that easy because Lamar Jackson is one of the fastest and most elusive players in the NFL. But the game plan that the Browns came out with was just atrocious on the defensive side of the football. They did nothing to approach Lamar in a different fashion to take away his legs from the game plan and force him to throw the football. And Lamar thrived. We saw super Lamar in this Monday Night Football game. I thought Lamar Jackson played his best game of the season. And this is a scary Lamar Jackson. It looks like the MVP from a year ago, where he's able to scramble, he's able to be effective in the run game in designed runs, he's able to impact the defense to Is Lamar going to keep it? Is Lamar going to keep it? And then he gives it to Edwards. Boom, 20-yard touchdown, right? Two guys come to Lamar. He hands it off. Edwards is gone. So Lamar was special not just in his ability to throw, his ability to run, but his ability to impact the game. And we saw this within the game. Trace McSorley comes in. Nothing really happens for the offense. Actually, on the last drive, you got to give McSorley some credit for making a couple of throws to get them in territory for where Lamar could come out. He could take the team, make a Superman play, and then ultimately win the game. But the Baltimore Ravens, man, the guts, the heart, and this is what I was talking about last week, the week before, when everyone's laughing at me, everyone's saying, Mitch, the Ravens suck this year. They've shown us nothing. I'm telling you, I know the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are better as underdogs. And I know they were favored in this Monday Night Football game, but nobody expects them to be a contender this year. Nobody expects them to be nothing come playoff time. Everybody has written the Ravens off. Oh, their offensive line's not as good. Oh, they can't run the ball as well. Oh, Lamar's not playing well. He can't pass. Whatever. The Ravens are a good underdog. When their backs are against the wall, they always come to shine. It was true with Ray Lewis. It was true with January Joe. And it's true with Lamar. Why is Lamar so successful in the NFL? Because he was written off after college. He was written off after the combine. People were saying, oh, he's just a running back. He's just a receiver. Why did he win MVP? Because everybody said Lamar can't do it. We saw that killer Lamar instinct on Monday Night Football. We saw the fist pumps. We saw the facial expression. We saw the killer come out. We saw Superman come out from Lamar Jackson. We saw a different player that I've seen all year. And if we're going to see that Lamar Jackson, I don't care who they're playing. It's the Chiefs, whoever it is, they're going to have a chance, because if Lamar has that edge on his shoulder, that chip on his shoulder, he is going to bring it. And the rest of the team is going to feed off that energy. A big reason they lost to the Titans last year in the divisional round is because Lamar sat back. He said, I'm the MVP. You didn't see the killer instinct. You didn't see Lamar being Lamar. But on Monday Night Football, we saw that come back. And that's scary for the NFL. I get it. You want to write them off. I'm just telling you, Lamar, when he's in the zone, is special. And he is something different that a defense has to defend that is hard to prepare for. When you're not prepared for it, you're not going to stop it. And that's Lamar Jackson to me. And that's what we saw on Monday Night Football. As good as Baker was, as great as Baker was at times, as good as Stefanski's game plan was, as great as Myles Garrett is, as much pressure as the Browns could put on Lamar, it didn't matter because he was just in the zone. He had the killer instinct. He had the Mamba mentality. And that's what we might see if the Ravens sneak into the playoffs, which makes them a very interesting team. The Ravens coming in, Colin Cowherd saying 16-0. That's not the Ravens that are going to be a threat. The Ravens are underdogs. And the Ravens are going to sweep the rest of the year, go 11-5, and probably win a playoff game. We'll see what happens here. But the Ravens, I think, are a real threat. And the Browns also prove to us that they are here to stay, that they are not going to shy away in a big game. And even though they did lose, I thought it was a valiant effort for the Browns. And I thought it was a good performance by Baker. The best game I've ever seen Baker play. I tweeted it out. Everybody wants me to apologize. I'm not going to apologize, okay? Baker is still, in my book, not phenomenal. He's not great, but he was great on Monday night. And I will say that, and I will give credit where credit is due. So that was a great game. It was awesome to do the live stream. It was awesome to have you guys there live. It was just a bunch of fun. Hopefully we can get more games like that for the rest of the year. That was awesome game to watch and to commentate. So let's move on to the next segment, which is the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. And I think this game would be getting more attention if Monday Night Football wasn't so freaking fantastic. The Buffalo Bills are real, guys. The Buffalo Bills are arguably the best team in the league. I think I'm going to stay with Kansas City because, as you guys know, until you beat the man, you can't be the man, right? Ric Flair, baby. You gotta beat the man to be the man, right? So the Buffalo Bills didn't beat the man. So they lost to the man, in fact. That's why they're just second to me. But if you were to tell me that the Bills beat the man in the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised. Because the Buffalo Bills that we saw earlier in the season when they took on the Chiefs, it's not the same team we see today. I think the Bills have grown as a football team. I think they're playing better defensively. I think they've grown offensively. I think Josh Allen has grown. I think this team is going to be a serious threat in the playoffs to the Chiefs going back to back. I think they might be the biggest threat. The Buffalo Bills showed us versus the Steelers that they can play a defensive game, and when they need to, they can turn on the Jets and pull away from a pretty good team in the Pittsburgh Steelers. You give them that opportunity, and this is what I said before the game. The Buffalo Bills are better in-game adjusters at the coaching positions than the Pittsburgh Steelers. The turning point of that game, in my opinion, was the pick six. But there was a drive before halftime, I believe, that got them a field goal. And we saw the offense change. We saw the offense adapt. We saw Stephon Diggs start to take over the game. Stephon Diggs, it's for sure. It's secure. Stephon Diggs was the best move of the offseason. There is no way around it. It's 100%. Stephon Diggs has elevated this team to not just being a playoff team that they were a year ago, elevating Josh Allen to top 5 elite quarterback status, and elevating the Bills to a legitimate Super Bowl contender. That's what Stephon Diggs has done. He has given Allen a receiver that every play that you need it, you can go to him. He's going to win his matchup. Every time that you need your number one guy to just win on the outside, that's Stephon Diggs for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, I thought, really did a good job on Ben and the offense and keeping everything in front of them, making the tackles, disrupting passes, getting in the passing lanes of the short passing game, which is what the Steelers want to do. It also, this game, I felt, showcased the flaws of the Steelers. I think Pittsburgh, they have a serious offense issue. I don't know exactly what it is. I feel like they try to be too much of a finesse style of football that has gotten away from the true identity of what the Steelers organization has always been about. They really don't trust their run game for good reason because it stinks, but they don't really add any flavor to the run game. The offensive line doesn't get a lot of push, but they don't really use Watt in the game as a fullback. They don't go two back sets. They don't try to attempt to play enough power football, in my opinion. They're not versatile enough. They're not flexible enough offensively. They're not game plan oriented offensively, in my opinion. Basically, every game I see the Steelers play, it's let's spread everybody out, let's go empty, and it's Ben going, 4 yards here, 5 yards here. Maybe eventually Juju can break a little crosser over the middle for 20, for 30, and maybe we'll float it up to Claypool and he'll get a 30-yard gain. But nothing in their offense to me is a true sense of identity, or it's not really elite. I think that's the word. You know, we know that the Bills have an explosive pass attack due to Josh Allen's ability outside the pocket with a giant arm to make plays. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and when John Brown is healthy, it's dynamic. It's dynamic. Same with the Chiefs. We know what the Browns are. Run the ball, play action. They can evolve from there and be game plan specific. We know what the Raiders are offensively. We know what the Packers are offensively. With the Steelers, we don't really know. It's like, okay, they want to be this finesse team, but are they truly built to be that team? Are they truly explosive enough? Like, these receivers are good, but there's no Stephon Diggs out there. There really isn't. There's no Tyreek Hill. There's no Devontae Adams that you can really say this guy's elite. They have 3 good options, 3 different receivers. And then you look at their scheme and it's kind of vanilla. There's nothing too dynamic to it. There's nothing too... Every game, I just feel like defenses can go in and know exactly what to expect from Pittsburgh. It's crossers. It's Ben trying to get the ball out quickly. It's no downfield attack. There's no play action involved. There's not a lot of motion involved. The run game is pathetic. It's not even a threat. Like, if I played the Steelers, I would literally just say they can run it as many times as they like. I don't care. I'm just going to take all of their crossers away, all of their underneath game. If they want to try to push the ball down the field, go ahead, because I don't think they can actually do it. I've seen them do it a couple times all year. That's about it. Like, I feel like playing the Steelers is simple on offense. When you see their offense, it's simple. It's take away the short and intermediate passing game and nothing else. There's no trickery, there's no deception, there's no motion, there's no play action, and there's no balance. And that is just a true sign of a flawed offense. Back to the Bills for a second. I just feel like Buffalo, they are getting better on defense. McDermott's coaching them up, and Brian Daboll continues to be an in-game genius on offense with his ability to adapt. I feel like at halftime, they basically said, we're going to have all these plays for Stephon Diggs. He's got a clear matchup. And this is what I was saying on the live stream. You guys know this. If you were at the live stream, you understand that I was like, why are they not throwing the ball to Stephon Diggs? Like, no Joe Hayden in this game. It's one-on-one. Give him a chance. They need to throw to Stephon Diggs more. And Diggs just took over the second half. It was a great performance by the Bills. They got a little bit from their defense, a little bit from Andre Roberts on special teams, and a bunch from the combination of Allen and Diggs. And I know I kind of jokingly tweet out there that the MVP was playing Josh Allen, but seriously, we need to treat Josh Allen with more respect as a true MVP candidate this year. I do feel that he has just catapulted himself into the discussion of elite quarterback play and is playing as well as any quarterback in football, despite playing a really good defense, despite playing in the weather. When he needed to, he came through. He started the game up a little rough, but in that second half, the guy was unstoppable. So the Bills are real. I feel they're a legitimate threat. I wouldn't rank them over the Chiefs quite yet, but I do think they are the team that has the best chance at knocking them off in the AFC. Now, a team that I really like in the NFC is the LA Rams. The LA Rams on Thursday Night Football, again, guys, think all the way back to Thursday. I know it feels like 20 years ago. And when somebody actually brought this up, I think it was Durkan or Ultra in our chat before this video to line up the topics for the video, I was like, I forgot about the Thursday night game. I know I'm a Patriots fan, but I seriously, Thursday Night Football feels like a year ago. Like every week, after Monday night or after Sunday Night Football, it feels like it just flies by, and like Thursday night felt like a season ago. And that was the case for this week because the game wasn't the most entertaining, the most memorable, but I feel like we learned a lot about the Rams, and we learned about the vulnerability of New England this year, and we learned about all the things that I've been saying all year about the Patriots negatively, right? Last week, I said Patriots are back. Why'd I say that? Because they're coaching, right? The Patriots coaching will give them a chance in every game. And I believe that through and through. And that's why I said the Patriots are back. I didn't mean that they were going to win the Super Bowl. I didn't mean they were going to make the playoffs. I just meant like they're back. Their core identity of them coaching you on a weekly basis, they're back. I still believe that because the Patriots literally start with the flaws in New England, and we'll get to the Rams' greatness. But the Patriots, the flaws were on full display versus LA. Like, full display. Everyone's going to sit there and have the bottom tier analysis of Cam Newton's not getting it done. Whatever, right? The quarterback position. Meanwhile, we see Jarrett Stidham go in the game, get sacked. I don't know, throw one completion. I have no idea. Okay, just get hit, continuously. The quarterback's not the problem. Last year, the quarterback wasn't the problem. This year, the quarterback really isn't the problem. In this game, the Patriots, they don't have anything that threatens a defense. Again, it's tired at this point, but legitimately, we have Patriot fans and Patriot analysts and Patriot beat reporters on Twitter picking out little plays throughout a course of a game where they can find a wide receiver open. Does any other beat reporting staff, does any other media outlet out there, for one team, everywhere, across the board, looking up all 22 and trying to find open receivers? That just speaks to how disgraceful and pathetic the Patriots' passing attack has become. And obviously it's gotten worse because Cam is not the passer that Brady is. But we knew, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me. We knew the Patriots offense was going to struggle in this game. We knew that if the Patriots were going to win on Thursday night, it was going to be because of their defense. It's going to be a defensive game. The Rams have the best defense in football. More on that in a bit. But the Patriots don't have any receivers to threaten a defense. The Rams packed the box. The Rams had a nice game plan to defend the run. And the thing is here, New England actually had stretches of this game where they moved the ball in the game by running the ball. Cam had a couple nice throws off play action. They made a few plays. But every time they got into Rams territory, every time they were in the red zone, they failed on 4th and 1. They refused to kick field goals. They tried to go for it every time, and none of them were successful. This game was more like a 17-10, 17-13, 20-13. That was the game. That pick six was, I don't know why McDaniels, I have to throw some blame on him for this because that screen hasn't worked all year, okay? It hasn't worked all year, and the decision on Cam's part was even worse than the play call itself. Should have just thrown the ball at the ground. That's what Brady would have done. That's what Cam should have done on that play. That play hasn't been effective in a year. So just throw it out, okay? But there's a pick six in the game. There's a missed opportunity for a touchdown on the 1 yard line. There's countless 4th down failures. There's the lack of not kicking those field goals. This game was more competitive than it actually came across at the end of the day. But New England's offense, every single thing is in the details. Every single thing is, we need to have a smoke screen on the left, a smoke screen on the right. We need to trick you into getting 4 yards. We need to motion a guy to the left, motion guy to the right. We need to get lead blockers here. We need to have Cam, do a triple option. We need to have speed option to the left with a pitch to James White on 4th and 1 because we don't think we can get a yard. We can't trust a receiver to run a slant for 5 yards and just throw it to him and catch it and actually get open. None of the receivers get open. If Jacoby Myers lined up versus Jalen Ramsey 100 reps on a playground, he would lose 99 out of 100 reps versus Jalen Ramsey. That just tells you how outmatched they were on that side of the football. And on top of that, Aaron Donald won his matchup versus their offensive line. Their offensive line is the best part of their team. So, again, I say this every week with New England, but to blame one person for it, whether that's McDaniels, Cam, Jacoby Myers, Joe Tooney, Isaiah Wynn being hurt, whatever it is, you can't just blame one person. The tight ends are the worst group in the league. The receivers, the worst group in the league. It's a passing league. It's a passing game league. Without those things, we see what the receiver has an impact with Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, with Stephon Diggs in Buffalo, with DK Metcalf in Seattle. Look at all these teams. The Chiefs with Tyreek Hill. I mean, all these teams that have receivers are successful offensively. The Patriots are trying to play 1950s football and trying to outcoach you on every snap of offense. And it's just undoable in some games. The margin for error is so small that it makes it so hard to move the ball consistently. And that's no one player's fault. No matter who the quarterback is, it's not going to be all that great. Sure, if Mahomes was the quarterback, would it be better? Yes, obviously. But it wouldn't be the Chiefs. It wouldn't be the Packers. It wouldn't be the Saints. It would probably be average because at least Mahomes can make some plays, but you have no weapons around him. So the Patriots' identity, we knew it, and it just didn't come through. And every time they had an opportunity to get that yard, they didn't. Defensively, though, this is where I want to talk about the Rams. The LA Rams, to me, in this game, did something essential when I talk about contenders and I talk about playoff teams in January. The Rams are perhaps the most versatile team in football, and that is going to do them well in the playoffs. So this starts with their coaching staff in Sean McVay and what they have been able to do and how they've structured this team. I feel like they have had the best defense this year, and we knew that their offense has mostly been throughout the years of McVay an 11 personnel team. They don't really like to change it much, but in this game we actually saw that they were willing to change that because they knew McVay, out of the respect for Belichick, understood that in the Super Bowl they weren't successful running 11 personnel. So in this game they ran a lot of 12 personnel. That means 2 tight ends and 2 receivers and 1 back. So basically, they ran the ball. The Rams ran the ball. The weakness of the Patriots defense all year has been defending the run. They were piss poor versus the San Francisco 49ers at defending outside runs. And that's what we saw from Cam Akers and the Rams on Thursday night. McVay continuously spammed outside zone to the left, outside zone to the right, running the football, taking the football out of the hands of Jared Goff, putting it in the hands of the running back. And a lot of times, I'm not a fan of that strategy. But when you play a team like the Patriots, especially this year, New England needs you to F up. They need you this year to play into the hands of what they want to do. If the Rams would have came out there and played their regular old game script, threw the ball a lot, Patriots would have won the game. I don't care how bad the Patriots offense is, they would have found a way to win the game because Patriots could defend the pass, and they did in that game. I think Jared Goff had 150 yards. He threw an interception that was nearly a pick six if he weren't touched down at the 20-yard line. Jared Goff did not play well. There were a couple third downs where he threw bad passes and ended up being incomplete or batted down or potential interceptions. The reason the Rams won is because they were willing to play a different style of football. They were willing to say, we're going to grind this win out 20-7, right? I don't even remember what the score was. We are willing to win this game 10-3. If we need to win this game 10-3, that's how we're going to win. We're going to trust our defense. They're going to make the stops versus Patriots offense. We know that coming into the game. How offensively are we going to play this game so that we do not lose? That is the key to playing a team that you're better than, that you know you're more talented than. And the Rams basically said, yes, the Patriots' weakness is run defense, and it helped. And they basically said, okay, we're going to win this game 10-6 if we got to. And that's exactly what Sean McVay did in this game plan. I don't think anything they did was crazy or elaborate or special, but they attacked the Patriots' weakness. I felt they did a good job protecting Jared Goff, and they ran the ball well enough to get enough points to win because they knew their defense was going to stonewall the Patriots. Now, in different games, I feel like they would have to be different. But that's what we've seen from the Rams, their ability to adapt, their ability to adjust, and their ability to be versatile. And I feel like on Thursday night, we saw that. We saw that they were willing to play into their strengths of defense and to take away the Patriots' strength defensively, which is their coverage unit. And that is something that if they're able to do that in January, they're going to have a lot of success. If they roll into every game playing with the maximum game plan of what game to win. This is what the Patriots have been so good at over the years. Specific game planning each and every week. And that is what we've seen from the Rams this year that has allowed them to be one of the best teams in the NFL. They're not the most talented team, in my opinion, but their coaching maximizes their talent. Maximizes their talent, maximizes the game plan week in and week out. And if they can do that in January, they're going to be in a good spot. So I was impressed with what I saw from the Rams. Even though it was an ugly performance, it was a boring game. They knew they had to play boring football to win, and that's what they did. Credit to them. Patrick Mahomes in Miami. Speaking of not so boring, Patrick Mahomes is exciting. He's the poster boy of the NFL. He had one of his worst games this Sunday versus the Miami Dolphins. But what we saw in this game was obviously somewhat the downfalls of Miami. They can't score, okay? The Miami Dolphins have obvious limitations to their offense. I still feel like they're playing the worst of the two quarterbacks, but that's not really the point I'm trying to get at. I feel like the Chiefs, each and every week when people say the Chiefs only beat this team by 3, they only beat this team by 1, they only beat this team by 2. Oh, they just squeaked by the Chargers. They just barely beat the Panthers. Like, they're winning, first off. Second, they only have 1 loss, okay? Third, this is why the Chiefs are so good. Because they don't even play that well, and they win. And this, to me, is going to be a rant or a video separate that I make for Patreon, because I really want to investigate this topic. I feel the more I watch the NFL in 2020, the more that I feel that the better you are in 2020 in the NFL, it's more than likely that it is because you have a bigger margin for error. I don't think any team in the NFL is all-time great, all-time special, and that includes the Chiefs. But what the Chiefs are is they have by far the biggest margin for error. And that is because their offense is extremely explosive. They can make up 20 points in a blink of an eye. Their defense, while not great, makes plays. They're an average defense, in my opinion, maybe even below average. Miami is a team that on paper, their defense matches up with Kansas City pretty well. And that's true. And that was the case for a lot of the game. If you watched the Dolphins and Chiefs, you would have said, wow, Miami's defense is playing really damn good today. All of a sudden, you look at the scoreboard and you say, how the heck did the Chiefs score 30 points? They were outplayed for 3 quarters, yet the Chiefs won. Why is that? Because their margin for error is this wide. In comparison to the Dolphins, that's this wide. And in comparison to the Patriots, that's this wide. Like, this is why I'm telling you that what Belichick is doing with New England is absolutely insane. Because the team has a margin for error that is this small. The Chiefs are the best team in the league. They have a margin for error that is wider than this table. The Bills are the second best team because they have the second biggest margin for error. Why are the Bills better than the Steelers? Because they have a bigger margin for error. Football's played differently today. And that's why the analytics continue to show that passing is more effective than running. More effective than running. It's if you pass 40 times a game, you run 40 times a game, more often than not, the team that passes 40 times is going to win. Because the margin for error when you pass that effectively, pass at all, is bigger than if you run. There's another game that the margin for error of one team is very wide, and the margin for error for another is pretty small. And the game I'm talking about to further elaborate this point is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Minnesota Vikings. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I don't know the specific stat. The Bucs' time of possession in this game was under, I want to say it was under half of what Minnesota had. So Minnesota had the ball. I would say if it's a 60-minute game, they had the ball for 40 minutes. And the Bucs had it for 20. Somewhere around there, let's just say. I don't know exactly. 25-35. The Vikings' reliance on running the football and the Vikings' margin for error that is this small. The Bucs' margin for error because of their explosive passing attack, they scored 26 points in this game with only 25 minutes of possession because they were creating big plays down the field. They're pushing the ball down the field. And that's why every time the Bucs have lost, while they've lost, they lost 27-24 2 weeks in a row to Kansas City and the Rams. It looked very ugly. The Bucs, the game versus Kansas City, Brady threw some horrible picks. The game versus the Rams, Brady looked like crap. The offense looked like crap. They still scored 24 points versus the best defense in the league. Why? Because their margin for error is wide. Because even though they make all these mistakes, Mahomes throws 3 interceptions, they're still able to win the game. The Vikings, meanwhile, first drive of the game, take 8 minutes. They score a field goal. They run the ball 40 times. So what happens if you run the ball on first down, run the ball on second down, and maybe some drives you're getting 5 yards, you're getting a first down, you're really efficient. What if one drive you go 1 yard, 3rd and 8? Meanwhile, the Bucs could go 3 and out. The next series, the Vikings played better than the Bucs. But the Bucs were just simply more talented, their margin for error was wider, and their explosive ability was far greater. The Vikings continuously tried to go the length of the field versus the Bucs defense, which is not going to happen. Eventually, the Bucs defense is going to stop you. I mean, I don't think the Vikings went 3 and out all game. I don't think so. But eventually, they got to a part where, it's 3rd and 8. So Cousins got to drop back, and then he's going to get wrecked because their offensive line couldn't protect him all day. All day. The Bucs did a great job of protecting Brady in that game. I think he only saw like 3 or 4 pressures all game. Brady made a dot of a throw to Scotty Miller, which is what I'm talking about. Margin for error's 40-yard touchdown pass. There were some big plays to Gronk, big plays to Evans down the field that allowed them to get their other scoring drives going. Ronald Jones performed well, but the Vikings continue reliance of run. When you have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, arguably the best receiver duo in the league, and you're run. Eventually, you're going to, yes, you're taking all this time off the clock, but eventually you're going to hit a wall, and you're going to have to perform on 3rd down. And every single time, the Bucs came through. Bailey missed a few kicks. Side point on the Bailey thing. Why did Zimmer expect Bailey to hit a 54-yard field goal? Why? He missed a 35-yarder, and then you expect Bailey to roll out there and get a 54-yarder. Guys, 50-yard field goals are turnovers. I don't know if you knew this. When you miss a field goal, the other team gets the ball. "50-yard field goals are turnovers." So you expect a kicker who misses an extra point and a chip shot field goal to make a 50-yard field goal. 54 yards. What? Okay, might as well give the Bucs free points. So, as much as you want to blame Bailey for sucking, which he sucked, there's no way around it, You're going to ask your kicker to kick 50 yards when he can't kick from 30? What? Bro, what is this? Anyways, into the thoughts on the game itself. I liked what I saw from Tampa Bay's offense. I felt Tampa Bay overall, they found a little bit of an identity. Ronald Jones playing very well. He's perhaps the most underrated runner in the league right now. Leonard Fournette not suiting up, which thank God. Leonard Fournette is the worst running back in the NFL. LaShawn McCoy actually filling in for him and performing quite well on third down, running the ball as well. He is just much more able to be that third down back, to be that pass catching option out of the backfield. And we saw that versus Minnesota. The Bucs offensive line played very well, but play action was there. I felt their run game was solid. Like, it seems like the best Bucs is play action, run, and third and manageable, if not get the first down and 2 downs. Like, the Bucs, I didn't see any stupid play calls from the Bucs. That's something that I liked because we've seen a lot of stupid play calls from the Bucs. We saw not a ton of short passing game, but there was enough to keep the defense on their toes. And obviously, they had the mismatches in the secondary with their receivers. So they were going to make plays there. But I just felt like Brady felt more comfortable in the game. I don't know if it all had to do with Minnesota or if it had to do with the upgrade and more reliance on play action, which I feel like the Bucs have been much better when they've utilized more play action. Their defense came to play when they needed to and made key stops. This was a bad matchup for the Vikings. We knew this, but here's the problem with Minnesota. The part of the issue I thought the Bucs were going to win the game was because the Vikings want to run the ball and they never shy away from it. The way to beat the Bucs is not by running the ball. It's by passing the ball. I don't care how effective Dalvin Cook was running the ball. You need to throw the ball quick versus the Bucs. You need to expose their weakness, which is their corner play. And the Vikings didn't try to do that at all. So Tampa Bay played well, back on track. We'll see what they can do versus Atlanta, which is a divisional opponent. We'll continue to see if they can continue to get better heading towards the playoffs. But just furthers my point of margin for error. And that's where I really feel like teams in the NFL, the best of them, they have the widest margin for error. The next thing I want to discuss is the Colts and the Raiders. The Indianapolis Colts played the Las Vegas Raiders this week, which was a very under-the-radar outcome, in my opinion, because this was a game that I think was very important for the AFC, and not just the standings, but for us fans to understand who's legit and who is not. And coming in the game, I obviously made one of my best bets, the Colts -3. It was probably my best bet of the week. And the Indianapolis Colts showed out. They performed. The Colts continuously are getting better. The Raiders are continuously declining. I think we just saw the difference between the two teams. The Raiders' defense is a complete, utter joke. The Colts' defense, pretty solid. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but the Raiders, and the Colts' defense wasn't all that great in this game. They were just good enough to get by. Well, the Raiders were just a disaster. The Raiders' defense was a disaster. They can't get any pressure. They can't really cover anyone. Their run defense isn't great. This is the reason the Raiders, I had them as a team that I felt, 7-9, 8-8, maybe 9-7. But their lack of big-time playmakers on defense is super concerning. They don't have a great player on their entire defense. They don't have one great pass rusher. They don't have one great linebacker. They don't have one great safety. They don't have one great corner. When you don't have any playmakers on defense, you're going to lose to good teams. The Raiders have luckily and performed well in these games, but they luckily have been able to beat the Chiefs and the Saints and some good teams this year. And that was mostly because their offense was mistake-free. They played perfect football, and their defense lucked into a few plays. But their defense has gotten worse and worse and worse all year, and it's going to be the reason they missed the playoffs. I don't have a lot to say about the Colts other than they played the way I expected. They made enough plays defensively. They did a good job versus the run. They made enough plays pressuring Derek Carr. And offensively, Phillip Rivers plays good versus bad defenses. They ran the ball well. I think the Colts need to be a team, if they want to go far in the playoffs, to run the ball and to possess the clock. Because I don't think they're going to be able to outduel you versus a good team or a decent defense. Because I think they really need to play through their offensive line more. I think they need to play through their defensive line more. I think they need to be able to win the line of scrimmage to be able to win long-term in these playoffs versus the best teams. That's really their only hope. Because when you look at their secondary, you look at their receivers, you look at their playmakers, the perimeter isn't the strength of the Colts. It's the front. And Rivers isn't going to outduel Allen. He's not going to outduel Mahomes. You need to win in that way. And I know you got by with the Raiders, but the Raiders are who we thought they were. Let's be honest. So Colts shred the Raiders kind of expectedly, but I'm just kind of disappointed that the Raiders have been unable to adapt their defense. They've been unable to bring in enough playmakers on that side of the ball to get them to the next level. And that's been their weakness all year, and it really showed through in this game, in my opinion. So that was the difference between the Colts and the Raiders. Offenses are both efficient. They both have good coaching staffs, but the Colts have the better defense. It's not a disaster. It's actually fairly decent, and that's why they won. Simple as that. The Washington football team and the New York Giants. The football team is better than the Giants, and this speaks to, in my opinion, one team having an elite area of their team and the other not. The Giants are probably a better all-around team than Washington. I think they have the better quarterback. I think their coaching staffs are fairly similar. I think their offensive lines are fairly similar. I think the Giants have more weaponry. I think the Giants secondary might actually be better. But the football team's front seven is one of the best in football, and therefore their defense is one of the best in football. Jack Del Rio's done a fantastic job. And they've been able to win them games. Not just once, not just twice, but probably 4 to 5 times this year. Every time the Washington football team has won, it's because their defensive line and their front seven has played out of their minds. And while I do want to say that the Niners kind of handed them a gift in this victory, Nick Mullins throwing a pick six, a fumble for a touchdown, Washington caused those plays, so you got to give them credit. And this is why I feel like Washington is going to make the playoffs over the Giants. Because they have an elite area of their team, and the Giants do not. It's simple, but it's true. We see this quite often in football, where kind of like the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders don't really have one area where they're like truly special or gifted, and that's why they'll probably miss the playoffs. Meanwhile, teams like the Bills are loaded in a certain area, which allow them to get over the top. Even a team like Pittsburgh. You know, Pittsburgh was very good in the front seven. Now they've lost some pieces, and that's starting to hurt them. But I really think that some of these teams that are the difference between a bad team and an average team in this NFC East, or the team that's going to finish second and a team that's going to finish first, is just simply that one has an area on their team that can take over a football game and the other does not. The Giants need to play perfect everywhere to win. The football team doesn't, because they can get plays from their front seven. They can cause strip sacks. They can cause pressure for interceptions. They can get a fumble return for a touchdown, a pick six for a touchdown. The Giants, they need to play really, really fundamentally sound. They need to play good special teams. They need to play solid defense. And they need to do enough on offense. And it just feels like the Giants, they saw versus the Cardinals. Daniel Jones wasn't 100%. Their defense didn't perform that well. They weren't able to win. Football team, on the other hand, their offense played like crap. They still won the game because their defense won the game. It's as simple as that sometimes. That's what I'm talking about. That's another approach to margin for error. Because the football team's defense in their front is so good, their margin for error is wider than the Giants. Because Mahomes and Tyreek Hill are so good, the Kansas City's team margin for error is wider. So this is just another approach to the same thing. But I feel like that's why Washington is going to make it and the Giants are not. Because when you have to play perfect every week, when you have to do exactly what the coach has laid out for you to do every week, you're not going to be able to do it. Sometimes you get outplayed. Sometimes you're outcoached. Sometimes you're out-efforted. But the football team, front seven, win the game. Sometimes it happens. More often than not. And that's why the football team have been able to get to first place in this division. Let's talk about another NFC East team, Jalen Hurts and his debut versus the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to keep this short and simple. I did not see the entirety of the game, so I can't speak to all of it. But from what I saw is exactly why I like Jalen Hurts in the draft process. During that draft process, I like Jalen Hurts for his ability as an athlete. I like Jalen Hurts for his ability as an accurate passer, for a good decision maker, and for a guy that in every big moment has basically come through. And Jalen Hurts, the biggest difference we saw was not necessarily that he's more talented than Carson Wentz. It's not necessarily that the Eagles played better for Jalen Hurts or whatever excuse that Carson Wentz defenders want to give. The reason Jalen Hurts and the Eagles beat the Saints in this game is because Jalen Hurts didn't lose the game. It's that simple. Jalen Hurts didn't lose the game. Think about all of the games that the Eagles have played this year, and think about all the times that Carson Wentz has lost them the game. Every time. Every time the Eagles have lost, Carson Wentz was the reason. Carson Wentz was the reason because he holds on to the ball too long. He runs around, he gets sacked. He runs around, he fumbles. He runs around, he throws an interception. Every time. What did Jalen Hurts do? Oh, okay. I got to buy some time. Let's just run. Pick up 5. Pick up 10. Pick up 20. Jalen Hurts. Oh, the option's not there? Okay. Throw the check down. The option's not there? Okay. Take the sack. Like, Jalen Hurts played for a guy that's a rookie far beyond his years as a game manager. And this is what I was talking about, if you guys remember last year with Tom Brady and the Patriots. The Patriots were uniquely awful on offense to the point where Brady couldn't really do much with his offense. They knew their strength was on defense and on special teams. So the greatness of Brady was that he wasn't going to lose the game. He was going to make enough throws to win when they were there, when they were available, but he knew that was going to be far and few in between. But Brady just didn't lose the game. He kept every game close. Jalen Hurts did that. And that speaks to me why I like Jalen Hurts. Because Jalen Hurts is smart. Jalen Hurts understands what he needs to do as this first ever game in the NFL. I'm going to play to my strengths. I'm going to run when it's there. I'm going to play off play action. I'm going to make my running back better because of my threat of my legs with Miles Sanders going off. And I'm just not going to screw up. The reason I have this job right now is because Carson Wentz screwed up. I'm not going to F up. I am going to play within the lines. Because that's what coach has put me in for. So, credit Jalen Hurts. He had 100 yards rushing, I think. Great for him. But the more impressive part of Jalen Hurts was how beyond his years he played, in my opinion. How the moment was not too big. He was playing the best team in the NFC. I'm not trying to force the ball. I'm not trying to make a big play. I realize I got a good defense on the other side. Throw the ball away, take the sack, scramble. And that also speaks to the floor of having a mobile quarterback, having a guy that can make plays with his legs. Not saying Wentz can, but Jalen Hurts is a different athlete. Jalen Hurts can get away from pressure. He can run to a level that I don't think a lot of people thought he could, which I thought he could, but I guess other people didn't know that. I mean, Hurts' ability to run was the reason a lot of the drives were extended, the reason he didn't make Carson Wentz-like mistakes. And that raises the floor of an offense. It's the reason why when the Cardinals, nothing's open, Kyler can scramble and make 10 yards. It's the reason why when Lamar has no receivers, he can make a play. It's the fundamental reason why I said this offense in New England is better with Cam than with Brady, which at times that's been true, other times not so much, but that was my reasoning, is because when you have a guy that can make plays outside of the system, it raises the floor of an offense. And that's what we saw with Jalen Hurts over Carson Wentz. I was impressed. All right. How good are the Green Bay Packers? The Green Bay Packers on Sunday picked up another victory and beat the Detroit Lions 31-24. I saw on ESPN's power rankings, they were ranked second in the NFL, above Buffalo, above New Orleans, above the Rams, above the Steelers. The Green Bay Packers are puzzling because I feel like this Aaron Rodgers great play that we've seen, while it has been great, has masked the fact that this is the exact same team as last year. Guys, I will continue to say this, and people, especially Packer fans, are going to say I'm a Packer hater. But guys, who have the Packers played? Like, do we actually know anything about how good Green Bay actually is? 2 years in a row, this team has played next to nobody. They played the Saints in week 3. They won the game. Credit to them. It was in the first quarter of the season. Okay? The Saints were a totally different team. Their defense was not as good. I will give them credit for winning the game. Okay? But it's in the first quarter of the season. Like, a lot changes. The Raiders were unreal in the first quarter of the season. See them now? They've lost to the Colts and the Vikings recently. Those were the two best teams they played over the last 6 weeks. They lost both those games. I don't care how they lost both those games. They have a big test in week 16 versus Tennessee. I think is going to show us a lot of what Green Bay actually is as a team. This has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams. They're great. They're phenomenal. Arguably MVP. Arguably best receiver in the league. As a team, can we count on the Packers to stop anyone? As a defense, can we count on them to stop the run? Can we count on them to stop a top quarterback, a top offense? Can we count on them to have external threats outside of Devontae Adams? Guys, like, yes, the Packers have a great record, but how good are they? Like, I understand they have the logo. I understand they have Rodgers. But if we can criticize the Steelers a couple weeks ago for being undefeated and playing nobody, can we not criticize the Packers for the same thing? Can we not at least question the Packers for the same thing? Because I'm starting to think that this team is just going to roll into the playoffs, maybe even get a bye, and lose their first playoff game because they hadn't played any competition in a month or 2 months. I get it. You are what your record suggests. But just like the Steelers, no, not really. If you don't play good teams, how good are you? Especially when the NFL sucks, like I've said many times. When you don't play anyone that's adequately at the top of the league, I just think it's a fair point to throw out there. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's fair to say the Packers did this last year with the 13-3. Oh, great record. But they played no one. So I just want to throw that out there. I think we're going to learn a lot about this team. I'm really looking forward to their Week 16 game versus the Titans because we're going to know a lot about what they actually are. Because that is, on paper, not a good matchup for their defense. Rodgers is going to have to come through. They play a good coach in Mike Vrabel. They're going to have to win that game in a shootout, in my opinion. So we'll see what they are in that game. If they win, maybe I'm saying, oh, the Packers are legit. But until then, I don't know if I can say that because they haven't played anyone great in a long time. The Colts and Vikings aren't great either. They lost to those teams, but they're not great. So even if, okay, let's say they played the Saints in week 10 and they lost, but it was close. I'd be like, okay, it was close. Like it could have gone either way. They lost to the Vikings and they lost to the Colts. Like they're good, I guess. Like the Vikings are average. The Colts are good, I would say. I would have liked to have seen them play the Rams or the Seahawks or the Browns or even the Ravens or the Steelers or like none of the top 10 teams. They lost to the Bucs. The only other team that they played that was in the top 10 was the Saints. That's it. So I don't know how much we can learn from a team that doesn't play anybody. All right. Time for the main event of the evening. In the blue corner, introducing idiot YouTube commenters who question your every take and pick. And in the red corner, he resides from Vancouver, British Columbia. His name is Mitch Milani. What's going on, guys? Let's check your takes, baby. Check at the table. Check your takes. We have a group of takes from the so-called experts of the field. I'm talking about the Jimmies and the Joes, the Turtles and the Schmoes that comment on my videos and say, oh, you're an idiot for picking this team. Oh, your take is wrong. Oh, you don't know anything. Oh, this, that, and the other. It's time for the people that don't make videos but comment like a smart aleck and a know-it-all that they are the king of hot shit and then that they have the opinion that is above all. So I know that other people don't have the cojones to make this segment, but I will. Because, hey, if I don't have a good take next week, I'll say I don't have a good take. But it's time for you idiots to be displayed fully on this show. So here we go. Let's start off with Jimmy number 1. G's ER Frog. First of all, bro, get a better name. What is this? Next. The Vikings has won some games lately. First off, it's Vikes have won some games lately. 5-1 in their last 6. Okay, yes, that's correct. I stated that during the video. Vikes are overrated. By the way, overrated, I believe, is one word. I'm not an English professor, but I believe that's correct. By who, he says. Literally no one picked the Vikings to win. So wait, you're commenting on my video while other people are saying the Vikings are going to win, and you're saying nobody picked the Vikings to win. Okay, interesting comment. Don't get me wrong. I don't think the Vikes win this game. Okay. But your analysis is hot garbage, he says. The Bucks, okay, First off, Milwaukee, the Bucks don't play in the NFL. The Bucks, B-U-C-S, play in the NFL. Tampa Bay Bucks. Have something to, again, have, not has, something to prove. And the Vikes need to win to stay in the playoff hunt. Not to mention, that's true, not to mention the Vikes are still trying to prove they are better than 500. Again, your conclusion is correct. Your reasoning is ridiculous. First, bro, so you're saying my reasons are ridiculous when your reasons are that the Vikings need to stay in the playoff hunt. That's your first point. Your second point is that the Vikes have something to prove. And your third point is what? That the Bucks don't have something to prove? What's your analysis here? In the video, if you watch the video, Froggy, you would have seen that I stated the reasons for why the Bucks were going to win. Run defense, Tom Brady versus bad pass rush, and bad secondary, off the bye week. I gave you legitimate reasons. I didn't say that the Bucks just had something to prove. That wasn't my reasoning, sir. Your reasoning is that the Vikings are in the playoff hunt. That's not good enough for me, bro. So if you're gonna clown me for my take, come to the table with legitimate analysis. Do not come to the table with the trash. Okay, Mr. Froggy? So next time you comment on my video, come with actual analysis. Thank you. The next schmo we got here. Not, okay. Naheim, oh, bro, this is tough. Nemaya? I think I got it. Becker. Bad take on the Vikings-Bucks game. This is another example of YouTube commenter. Archetyped. So Nemaya, my boy Nemaya here, says, I have a bad take on the Vikings-Bucks game. Okay. Why? Nemaya, I have one question. Why? Can you explain yourself? I don't care if you disagree. If you think I have a bad take, that's okay. But at least tell me why. Don't just say, bad take, you suck, dislike, bye. If you are taking the time to comment on a creator's video, give me a reason. Don't just be like, bad take, because I'm a Vikings fan. Bad take. Okay, that's our boy Nemaya. Third guy here. Oh, Carlo. I hate to rip into my boy Carlo here, but Carlo, this is archetype number 3. Know-it-all. Know-it-all YouTube commenter. November 1st, 2020. The Vikings beat the Packers 28-22. I guess the Packers are a bad team, according to you. Well, actually, I just kind of talked about that. A win against Tampa Bay will move them up to the 6th seed. We'll see how good Tampa Bay is this week. The Vikings will cover and outright win this game. So this is the archetype of know-it-all. So yes, you are wrong, sir. You were wrong in this take. Now, a credit that you actually gave your opinion for people to see so that you are not just out there speaking blasphemy. At least you gave us your actual take so that we can see it. First, a divisional win is not a good point. Okay? A divisional win is not a good point. The Vikings beat the Packers. Okay, sure. But it's a divisional win. Okay? I've seen the Dolphins beat the Patriots basically every year they've won the Super Bowl. So that really doesn't matter to me. And now you don't really give a reason why they're going to beat Tampa Bay. You just say with definitive action that the Vikings will cover an outright win. Sir, why? But this is just a pure example of you guys never being checked for your takes. The Vikings, he thought were going to win, but nobody cared that he said that. But if I said that, everybody would be a little mad at me. Let's just say that. Next. Big Head. Oh, great name. Says, failed. Nah, I should do that differently. Failed. You just fucked up picking the Colts over the Raiders. But I love the hate against the Raiders. Oh, but $50. My cash, be Cash App ready. Oh, be Cash App ready. Okay. Where's my $50, bro? Big Head. Big Head, I'm going to hit you up, man. Where's my $50? Can you send it now? Or, like, are you not down no more? Should I reply to his comment? $50? Where is it at? I don't see it. It's not in my Cash App. Like, this is another archetype. This is know-it-all mixed with aggressive asshole. This is what this is. So Big Head, suitable to his comment, basically aggressively says that the Colts suck and the Raiders are going to win, is a complete douche about it, and then says $50 for the game and loses. Bro, if you're going to be an absolute a-hole in my comment section, at least be right. Like, that's all I'm asking. If you're going to be an asshole, at least be right when you make a take. When you comment, you better come correct. Because if not, you're going to be on this show. If you're going to say, be Cash App ready, if you're going to say $50 and you're going to lose, I don't know what to tell you, man. All right, next, we have Miles Swain. Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite guy. I was going to sub to you until you picked against the Steelers, bro. They are 11-1 and getting points. The Steelers are better at, like, everything. The Bills are great. It is a pick'em. But the Steelers have a starters coming back this week. Sorry, just not going to happen. I would bet you personally. Another guy that probably owes me $50. But, nonetheless, I'll let this slide, okay? My boy Mile here is an archetype on YouTube that we like to call, I like you, but you don't share the same opinion as me, so therefore I hate you. Bro, what is that about? What is that about? So you like my video, but you hate my opinion, so you don't like my video. What the heck is that? That shouldn't be a thing. If you like someone, you shouldn't like them based on their opinion. Do you like your best friend because they like the same music or same movie as you? What an idiot. Just because I picked against your lovely Steelers. Come on, man. Thank you for the $2, Classic White Bread. Appreciate that. Appreciate the subscription. Can we stop YouTubers, commenters of not liking somebody's video and having to comment because you don't like their opinion? I was going to subscribe, but you picked against the Steelers. Bro. Come on. So you liked I do 5 bets. You liked all 4 of my 5 bets, but because I picked against the Steelers, you didn't like the video because you didn't like one of my 5 bets. Do you know how idiotic that is? Do you know how idiotic that is? So let's just say I went 4-1 and my one wrong was the Steelers, which in fact it was not. But let's say I went 4-1 and my one wrong. What if you had all 4 of the games and you bet on all 4 of the games and you won on all 4 of the games because you saw my video? But you're going to sit here and say, just don't bet on the Steelers game then. Or just listen to my analysis of the other games. You don't have to bet. You don't have to bet. I'm just giving advice. I'm not telling you to bet. It's just my opinion. But, like, what if that was the case? What if this schmuck said, I bet on 4 of the 5. I won on all 4, but I'm still not going to subscribe because you don't like the Steelers. Bro! Okay, you guys don't get this, okay? I don't dislike teams. I don't dislike the Steelers. I don't dislike the Saints. I don't dislike the Jets. I don't dislike the Dolphins. I don't dislike anyone. I just give my opinion based on my thought. Especially when I'm doing betting. You can't have an opinion. You can't have bias when you bet, or else you're going to lose 100% of the time. So, dude, who are you? Next. Let's check if that comment's still, yeah, it's Mile. My boy Mile. All right, next. Stipe Lucic. I guess he's turning out to be a fraud and not the Steelers. This was not on my best bets video. This was on my last video, last week, the bottom line. I guess he's turning out to be a fraud and not the Steelers. This was during the Steelers game, by the way. Not before. Not after. During. When the Steelers were winning, this guy commented, I guess he's turning out to be a fraud and not the Steelers. What? That's all I got to say. And lastly, oh my God, bro. This has to be the worst comment I get on YouTube. Dwayne Kellums says, get with the picks. Do not need all the BS. I replied, why would you trust somebody giving picks with no context as to why? Cole says, seriously, if you just want picks without his reasoning or rationale, you're an idiot. Cole couldn't be more right. Why in the bluest of blue hells would you take advice from somebody in betting that doesn't give you their opinion on the game? That literally makes no sense. So you're telling me that you would rather me just list the picks that I have without telling you one iota of information of why? What is your IQ? So you want to buy a PlayStation 5, but you don't know what model, you don't know what it comes with, you don't know if it's the disc version or the online version, you don't know one piece of information. You just want to see PS5 for sale. You want to invest in a stock without getting any thought from an expert on the material. You don't want to get anything. You don't want to hear one thing. You just want to say, that guy to tell you, invest in this. Think before you comment on someone's video. Think. Have a brain. That is all. All right. We had a super chat from Isaac, my boy Isaac. $50! I just noticed it's $50, man. Isaac, you're the GOAT, bro. Thank you, Isaac. I appreciate it, man. Seriously, thank you. Says, I was going to invite you to my birthday party, but since you didn't pick the Dolphins to win, I called the UN peacekeepers to raid your house. Thank you, Isaac. Very correct. That sounds a lot like my boy. What was his name? What was his name? Mile. Thank you, Isaac. That was a good example. I appreciate the $50, bro. I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I appreciate you enjoying this show. Maybe I'll have to make the commenters an official show on the Bottom Line View. No amount of money. I like this shirt. All right. I think I am done. Let's quickly go to... Guys, if you haven't already, Gronk spike that like button. We don't have enough likes on this video. Gronk spike that like button, guys. If you enjoyed this video. Let's quickly take a look at Week 15 before we say goodbye. So Week 15 sneak peek. What do we have on Week 15? I don't even really know, to be honest with you. We have a Thursday night game, the LA Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. That should be interesting, entertaining, but it really doesn't mean anything. The Bills and Broncos, that game sucks. Panthers, Packers, that game sucks. Texans, Colts, that game kind of sucks. Lions, Titans without Stafford, that game sucks. Bucks, Atlanta. It's Ultra versus his other team, so that's not bad. Jags versus the Ravens, that game sucks. Patriots, Dolphins. Durkant, you got to come on for this game. We're going to do this live stream. Patriots, Dolphins, you got to be on. I think we need to do it. Seahawks, Washington. Seahawks -5 versus Washington. That's a good game. That's a big game. Niners, Cowboys. Two iconic teams, but the game doesn't really mean anything. Chiefs, Saints. That could be good. It's probably one of the better games of the year if Drew Brees were playing. I don't know if he is or not. Cleveland, the Giants on Sunday night. That's pretty good. Monday night, Steelers, Bengals. That sucks. So we only have like 3 or 4 good games. Durkant wants to do it. Miami, New England. We could have some other people join too if you guys want. We could watch it. Yeah, I could react and we could do it. If Durkant wants to be on, I don't know if he wants to be on video or if he's shy, but we'll figure it out. All right, but that is Week 14 NFL review. Thank you guys for watching. Again, if you enjoyed, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll stick around for a few minutes of questions if you guys want, but if not, I will be back tomorrow for picks. So if you have any questions for me right now, you can ask. If not, I'm going to go. Durkant says, Durkant and shy in the same sentence. Samuel says, Seahawks should have ran the ball. KC says, Poopgate. John says, I'm a Chiefs fan, and I think they've been doing very good. I'm pretty sure they're going to make the Super Bowl again. But they've been struggling lately against the Broncos and Dolphins. True. I think there is the possibility of the Chiefs being upset because their lack of playing a 60-minute game. Randomness says, honestly, for the game live streams, you should show us the game on your TV or something so we can see it. I can't do that. I would get copyrighted. Ben says, wait. What's up, Ben? Ben DiNucci. Thoughts about Wade Phillips to the Las Vegas? Is that actually happening? That'd be interesting, though. Singh says, hey, Mitch, I told you the Browns beat the Titans. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. Aaron says Detroit's new head coach. I don't know who it's going to be. I really don't. Hoping it's somebody I like, but I can't really give you an answer. Maybe in the offseason, I'll explore that topic a little bit more. Connor says, I went to swim, then lacrosse without getting a shower. My skin burns. Damn, bro, you put your pads on top of the... that's not the greatest. Ben says Raiders are actually good. Samuel says, what will you rank the offensive line as the most important positions? I would put it tackle, guard, center, probably. Will you do film analysis on Patreon? Potentially. Probably in the offseason. Turtle says, thoughts about Turtle, or maybe even before the playoffs. If I'll have the time, so I could do it for playoff games, potentially. Turtle says, thoughts about Turtle having the best takes in the BLV community. That's inconsistent. John says, it's obvious that Chicago plays better with Mitchell Trubisky than all the other Bears options. Well, the other options are not very good. Trubisky has not played horribly, though. I'll say that. Bethel says, I think the Chargers gained momentum from winning a close game against the Chargers. Landon says, should Russell Wilson leave the Seahawks? No. Ben says, who do you think is the best, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, or Terry McLaurin? DK. Miss 07 says, why didn't you review Denver versus Carolina? I think I talked about it. We may have forgot it, though. Just probably forgot. Durkant says, Steelers-Bengals garbage-ass primetime game. John says, honestly, I have to go with Scary Terry. Connor says, pads went on over, so not only were my arms dead, every part of my body was on fire. Do I think Carson Wentz is finished in Philly? Probably. Probably. Who are your front runners for Coach of the Year? Kevin Stefanski. Sean McVay. Damn. Who else? Matt LaFleur, maybe? Oh, Ron Rivera. Brian Flores. Those are probably the top ones. Ben says, thanks, great stream. Thank you. Randomness says, who would you pick as Defensive Player of the Year? Probably Aaron Donald. Samuel says, who's your MVP? I want to make a video on that, actually. It might be surprising. It might be a hot take, but I want to do it because I want to make the hot take. So let me do it. John says, who do you think is better quarterback? Lamar or Mahomes? Mahomes, but I like Lamar too. Connor says, where is Nick among running backs that played this year? Nick Chubb? Top 5. John says, TJ Watt or Tyler Matthew or Minka Fitzpatrick? Tyler Matthew. TJ Watt. Yes, Ruggs got COVID reserved. Isaac says, okay, time to do some homework. I'll try to catch up your next stream. All right, see you, Isaac. Thank you for the donation, man. Winrus says, Alex Smith for comeback player of the year? Yes. Turtle says, football team got a nice defense. They got to upset the Hawks? Maybe. They could. Sports Today says, is it true that Brady is better under center than shotgun? Not necessarily. But he's good under center. Better than most quarterbacks. Because he came from an era where under center was the primary formation or primary stance, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. Connor says, when's the worst possible team video coming? Ooh, probably later this week, I'll say. I don't exactly know. I'll just say this. The guy that I pick for MVP will not win MVP. So the prediction of who's going to win is different than my actual take. Randomness says, if you were to pick a non-quarterback to play quarterback, who would you pick? That's a good question. Maybe Sanu? I don't know. I would probably just pick a running back who can throw. Because then I would just run Wildcat and have him throw occasionally. But I don't know who it would be. Miss 07 says, what's the best option for Bieniemy? Probably Houston. Sports Today says, what do you think will end up being the playoff seeding? Who will make the final wildcard spots in the AFC? I was actually going to do a playoff machine video, so that might give you the answers on that. John says, why do NFL fans change their opinion so dramatically about their own teams from week to week? Because the NFL is a week-to-week league, unlike any other league. And basically, you have all that time to diagnose just one game. That's why. Tampa says, everyone's talking about who have we beaten other than the Packers. That's a Super Bowl contending team. In that case, can we say the same about the Saints since the sports media... What? Mind we... I know what you're saying, but who have the Saints beat? The Bucks? And who else? It's a good question. Who have they beat? Good question. Why can't I think of anybody? They lost to the Raiders. They lost to Green Bay. They lost to Tampa. Who did they beat? They didn't play the Rams. They didn't play the Seahawks. They didn't play Arizona. They beat the Lions. They beat the Vikings. Oh, they haven't beat the Vikings yet. They beat... Yeah, the AFC. Who did they play? Very good question. The Saints have beat nobody. Have they? I don't know. Unless I'm missing someone. San Fran was... Did they play San Fran? And San Fran was hurt, I think, at that point. Huh. Sports Today says, if the Bucs can build on that win, that's an improvement. Pats in 2018 found their identity late in the season as a run-heavy team. Bucs aren't a pass-heavy team, but if they can rely more on the run, it's similar. Well, I mean, Brady, that's more of a Belichick thing, I would say, than Brady, personally. Bethel says, who did the Chiefs beat? Every team they've played, except for the Raiders. They beat the Bills. They beat the... Did they play the Titans? I don't remember. They beat the Bucks. They beat any other good teams? I don't know. But they've beat a few good teams. They beat Miami. Let me see. Beat the Raiders once. They beat the Ravens. They beat... Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, that's like 4 good wins. They beat Miami. They beat Tampa. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Bills. They beat the Ravens. That's a lot of good wins. What school has produced the most Hall of Famers? Good question. Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, or USC? I would like to say Notre Dame, but I don't know. Maybe Ohio State. It's a good question, though. I don't know my college football well enough to know the answer. Sports Today, Colin Cowherd made another hot take. I saw that. I don't necessarily disagree. I think it's kind of disrespectful to the Chiefs, but it's a hot take for a reason. J.J. Watt were actually to leave Houston. Who do you think he would sign with? Patriots. Who would sign him? Patriots, Steelers. And that's because of his connection with his brothers. I think other teams that could sign him. Seattle, maybe? Seattle. I think the Rams, if they were able to get him on a low contract, but I don't think they would. I think Dallas would look into him if they could afford him. The Raiders. Those teams come to mind. Sasha says hi. What's up? Miles Sanders played well. Yep. Yep, I agree. Sports Today on the Ravens. All right, I think I am going to go. Hope you enjoyed this episode of The Bottom Line. If you did, don't forget to Gronk spike that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. I'll see you tomorrow night for Week 15 picks. Peace.